There's many other methods. Okay, so we should organize it in a tabular form. So this kind of table you have is a way to give you a shorthand for K1, K2, K3, K4, K something. So butcher table is defined like this. For the case where we try to solve dy dt equal to function of t and y, we say the next point equal to the current point plus h and weighted average of slope. So each k is the slope, bi is the weight. Make sense? And this line we put it here at the bottom. So next y is current y plus weighted average of the slope. The slope is k value. How do we calculate the slope? The slope is depending upon some kind of extrapolation. So look at this K2. K2 is the slope at point Tn plus C2H. So C2 is that thing. And at y of h multiplied by weighted average of the slope. So a to 1. That thing. So in the formula k, we can say, hey, k, the slope is the function at t plus constant multiplied by delta h or delta x or h, comma, y evaluated at step size multiplied by some kind of linear combination or kind of weighted average between each slope. So that a is whatever in here. Okay. It may not be clear, but let's take a look at the case of Runge-Kutta first. For Runge-Kutta, look at this. Is that familiar? Look at the bottom one first. We say the coefficient that we put on the bottom is the way that we do weighted average. So I use 1 over 6 of K1 plus 2 over 6 or 1/3 of K2 plus 1/3 of K3 plus 1/6 of K4. So this line is telling me how to get the next y value, which is this one, right? So what about the 0? So this thing is c, right? T plus 0 multiplied by h. So this means this is K1 is at the current point. So what about Aij multiplied by k? So we don't need to worry about anything here, right? So you see this Tn plus CH2, but our C happen to be 0. And our A is 0. So this means it's K defined at current T and current Y. Right? So that's why when it is empty, it is 0. So the first line is a short form for K1 at T plus 0H, comma, Y plus H multiplied by 0. What about line 2? 1/2 and 1/2. So first 1/2 is C value, right? Which is this thing. Another 0.5. So 0.5 of K1, that's why we have over here. So this axis, the first axis is for K1, second axis is to second column for K2, this column for K3, this column for K4. So this means for me to get the value of y, it has to be defined as y plus h multiplied by 0.5 multiplied by K1. Good? For K3, is evaluated at t plus 0.5 h, comma, y plus h multiplied by 0.5 multiplied by K3. So you see the relationship from here and here. You can map from the table to the formula format, right? Good. One thing to note is this. For explicit method, diagonal term and the term above the diagonal term is 0. You see this part is 0, this part is 0. So diagonal term and top right triangle has to be 0. Otherwise it's implicit method. Okay. Let's take a look at explicit Euler. How do we put in Butcher table? In Butcher table format, we have 0. C equal to 0, right? So C equal to 0. So K1 is evaluated at T, comma, y plus 0. So this means we use the current point to get the next point. And the formula, the next point is a weighted average, just K1. That is for explicit Euler. For implicit Euler, we have 1, 1, and 1 over there. The bottom one over here, that 1 on the bottom means y n plus 1 equal to y plus h multiplied by 1 multiplied by k that you have. This column is for this k. And that k, so k1, so the first row is for k1, right? K1 is not at the current point. Because if it is at the current point, that has to be 0. But it is at the end point. It's at t plus h. Right? So that number 1 telling me that it is evaluated at x or at t equal to t plus h. Good? You with me? Daniel? So this number 1 for implicit Euler, it means that thing. Good? Because this is C. And it evaluates at the next y too. Next y means the top right, that part is 1. So when the top part is 1, go back to the formula. So basically, if you have this page, you can convert between the table form and the formula form, right? So in Butcher table, we have h multiplied by 1 of k1. So k1 itself is a function of k1. So when your diagonal term is that, it's implicit. Make sense? Because k1 dependent upon k1, right? But if you look at this, k1 is not dependent upon k1. This part is 0, right? k2 is dependent upon just k1, but not k2, right? k3 is dependent upon k1 and k2, but not k3. So it's explicit format. If you have just bottom diagonal, bottom left is explicit. If you ever have the diagonal term on the top right, then it's implicit. So think about the method that is kind of fully implicit. So what if you have number over here, number over here, number over here, everywhere? What do? You have K1, K2, K3, K4. K1 dependent upon K1, K2, K3, K4. K2 dependent upon K1, K2, K3, K4. So you have 4 equations, 4 unknown nonlinear. Bam. You solve it by using Newton's Jacobian. Why should it be nonlinear? Where does the nonlinearity come from? I mean,
The degrees.
Daniel, why do I say I have nonlinear system of nonlinear equation when I have the top part? Where does the nonlinearity come from?
Because
Is it come from f? Yes, because your f is the right hand side. Right hand side can be integration. Right hand side can be x squared, x cubed, sine, cosine, exponential, right? So that is where you have nonlinearity. So now you cannot think about you have k1, k2, k3, k4 anymore. You think about you have 4 equations, 4 unknown, right? And we can calculate Jacobian matrix. We solve Jacobian matrix. Then we can solve system of nonlinear equation. Then we inverse the metric, kind of inverse the metric. We solve everyone simultaneously. Then we get k1, k2, k3, k4. If it is fully like coupled, fully implicit. Good. So next, I want to present you 6-step backward finite differentiation formula. So from our like milestone, I finished reviewing it, right? I review you what? Integration, and basic ODE. But we haven't do implicit method. Just only implicit Euler. But we want a better method. Okay. Well, okay, next part I will cover this 6-step, and then Lobato. Lobato is going to be fun. Lobato has all terms. But I like Lobato. Lobato 3C because it is L stable. Forget about mathematical derivation or anything. L stable means very, very stable. Lobato has a full matrix, so it is more fun. But okay, 6-step backward differentiation is not full matrix. So who is missing? Jolene is missing. He just want to miss. Okay, 6-step method is an implicit method, of course. Each step can be solved separately. So that's not cool. They did solve everything simultaneously. So you just have the diagonal term, but you don't have the top right diagonal. So you can solve. So if you just have the diagonal term, this means, hey, you can solve this one. It is implicit Euler. You can solve it. Then you can solve this one, this one, this one by one separately. It's implicit, but it can solve it step by step. That is 6-step backward differentiation formula, 6-step BDF. For fully implicit BDF, need to solve everything simultaneously. We don't cover it, but there is. But it's not the best one. The best one is Lobato. First step in BDF is exactly the same as backward Euler. Okay. This method is not unconditionally stable. It is not astable, but it's still good for a stiff ODE. Why should it not be unconditionally stable? Intuitively, you just put the diagonal term. You don't put the whole thing. That is why it's not like stable. It's better, but it's not astable. Okay, so it's still more stable. Okay, here's the formula. First equation, you can put in the tabular form. Butcher table. Butcher table. The first one is the same as Euler, right? So this one is unknown, that one is unknown. We have one equation but unknown. We can solve for it. Done. Implicit Euler. Second one, look at this. y at n plus 2 is unknown, y at n plus 2 is unknown, y at n plus 1 we already calculated, so it's known, that is known, that is known, one equation, one unknown again. Just adjust the coefficient a little bit, but basically it's one equation, one unknown. You use F solve or Newton-Raphson solve it. Third equation, guess what? It is one equation, one unknown. But this time our unknown is y at n plus 3. So y at n plus 2 and y at n plus 1 and yn come from previous step. So you keep doing this. This time n plus 4 is unknown, this one n plus 5 is unknown, this time n plus 6 is unknown. When I read the Wikipedia page, it said there's no more than 6 steps because more than this is unstable. And if you think about it, it's kind of true. Implicit order is unconditionally stable, is L stable. But when we have add more steps, it's become less stable and less stable and less stable and less stable and less stable. But it's more accurate, more and more and more accurate. Okay, but it's less stable. In what? Okay, stability is not just about your equation. It's about how you get equation too. Okay. So in the case where it's unstable, do you have any example of where the equation become like stiff or very difficult to solve? In some sense, if your slope change quick, then it's difficult to solve.
Yeah.
Or if you have not first degree but second degree of equation, but you define the variable differently, or the two different sets of ODE may have the same solution, but the way that you define first equation, second equation may be different. That makes it more like unstable. But we don't worry about this part yet. But at least you know how to do this 6th step, right? You use F solve 6 times. That should not be a problem, should it? Before you can use F solve, make sure you move this to the left hand side. You move right hand side to the left hand side, so you have something equal to 0. Then you can use F solve. Otherwise, you cannot. So this means in each equation, you have to move this to the left hand side, this to the left hand side, and then you can use F solve. Cool?
Where does the constants come from in this one?
Constant C?
4 by 3, 1 by 3, 2 by 3, then 18 by 11, 9 by 11.
Oh, this constant come from a lengthy mathematical derivation. Lengthy means they use several kind of like
Expansion.
mathematic magic or something. Taylor series expansion, something, then they did this. I read it, I see how they got it. I cannot repeat what they did. That's like mathematician job. Same thing as Lobato. That's a derivation, believe it or not, how to get each number. I cannot do that. But I know that once we get this, I know that we can use it.
So,
Yes.
is there another name for Lobato?
What?
Is there?
We have Lobato 2, Lobato 1 or something, like less stable or something, but I present you just one. The most stable, L stable, work any case. Like I did vector position research. In vector position research, I had to solve ODE. This 2 ODE. And it's not quite stable because it depends on fluid property, it depends on how quick rack grows. This method, I didn't use it, but it will solve the problem. So, 6th step, BDF, backward differentiation formula. You solve each equation one by one. You get 6 order. Very accurate, right? Lobato 3, C. It's like this. Full form, fully implicit, everywhere. So you have 4 equations for unknown, solve it by Newton-Jacobian. You still remember Newton-Jacobian? Why do we have to worry about Newton-Jacobian? Because it's just very frequent. Right? Is it frequent? Fully implicit. It's used in some kind of advanced mathematics. So you need to know it, and we use it here. So it is L stable any way that your function change, it capture, it's stable. It doesn't like fluctuate or moving around your answer. You get the answer. So this means if your method is unstable, mean you can jump longer and still stable. Doesn't mean that it's accurate, but it's stable. So if you jump minus 2.5 explicit Euler, you get that. You get fluctuation, right? If you use implicit Euler, it works. Actually, it works. But it's first order approximation. But if you want fourth order, you use Lobato 3C. You jump longer, you retain the stability, and you get accuracy at the fourth order.
What kind of in this method that they use in the simulation?
They don't use Lobato. They use easier one. Easier one, which is, I'm going to talk about it. Dormand-Prince is the most popular method that they are using. The most popular one is Explicit Method, but it's stable. There's a way to make Explicit Method stable. So Lobato 3C, I do the code, and because it's not in the Python library, I cannot find it, so I have to make one. So when how is it not in?
Too complicated to be there.
So Lobato 3C, put your formula, look like that. Right? This is a PDF file of my iPad notebook. So we have 4 equations for unknown. I write G1, G2, G3, and then Lobato. And you see, I have just used list and append, and in the front I have function. Then I have 4. So this is coefficient. And at the end, what do? So I have 4 equations for unknown, and then just use F-solve. Ta-da! Like in your take-home exam, you have 9 equations, 9 unknown. How did I do it? Sign by F-solve and it's done. But if you do it, it's a little longer. So Newton's Jacobian, even though it's not very difficult, in a nutshell, it's one line. Done. As quick as that. Good.
So you made that code. Is that the code you said is not in the Python library?
That part.
Oh.
This way of putting this coefficient thing, or you have to understand about it to a certain degree until before you can make it and make it work. So when I print it, compare with other method, plot everything together basically. Black one is RK4, step size of minus 2.5. The red one is kind of analytical solution. Okay. Here we use Lobato 3. H is minus 2.5. Look at the teal color. It matches the solution every time. Even though my jump is big, I have a big jump, it still matches the solution. Wow! You like it?
So what are the point between 8 and 10 for the analytical solution and Lobato 3C?
So Lobato 3C, I have blue color, step size of minus 0.5. Teal color has step size of minus 2.5. So I show you, even though I jump longer, my result is still fine.
Yeah, but it's not.
Implicit Euler is stable, but it's not accurate. But it's still getting closer than RK4. Don't get me wrong, actually RK4 is better, but this time we just ridiculously selecting the step size to be too big. right? But at times, you may have to ridiculously selecting the step size to be too big. Why?
Because you allow.
When do we want to do that? If everything just done quick, you don't need to do that. But think about if each point get you 5 minutes, 10 minutes of evaluation, 20 minutes, you want to jump longer, right? You don't want to jump small, otherwise it takes years to get it done.
So what is the trade-off of the?
Is low battle actually faster? Because you see, if I use low battle 3C, I have many more coefficients. I have many more steps. I don't know. Do you want to count that? You can count it. Or I can ask you to count it. I don't know if you can count it. To count it, you have to add counter into this thing. So we don't count the amount of time, because amount of time can be about like how we implement it. But we can count the number of floating point operation, right? So we kind of time the algorithm itself. I don't know, and it's a little bit more difficult to count because think about this: when you use Newton-Jacobian, so Newton-Jacobian you have to find Jacobian matrix, right? And for it to converge, you need a good starting point. So it could be a couple iterations in Newton-Jacobian. Okay. But anyway, after I do it, okay, let me show you that 6-step VDF. Look at this. Use F solve 6 times. Very easy, right? You just have formula. I just use F solve 6 times. And I define my function. To be clean, I use variable unpacking. If you see my y0, so I have equation 1 as a lambda function, equation 2 lambda equation 3, equation 4, equation 5, equation 6, and I pass this. But think about it. The amount of argument is not the same, right? The number of arguments that you need is not the same. For equation 1, you need just y1, y0, x1, h. But equation 2, you have more. So that's why I use args equal to this. This is just how to use F-solve. I'm not teaching you that, you just read documentation, but if you don't know, good starting point is this. Okay, so VDF, yeah, I get it done, it matched. This method is difficult to implement if, as you can see, full matrix it's not easy, right? It's full matrix. Like, it's also difficult to understand when you try to put them together. But if you use explicit Euler, step on minus 0.5, it's jumping around, but low battle is better. Okay, just one point to know. Alright, but it is difficult, and it's good, but it's difficult. We can have another trick. Dormand-Prince 4-5. This is a little, I think it's better than Runge-Kutta-Feinberg 45, RKF 4-5. Dormand-Prince is better, so I teach you this. And there is already library to use this. And Dormand-Prince is the main library that you use in MATLAB, right? So when you use MATLAB, the default library to solve ODE is Dormand-Prince. It's also Dormand-Prince. So the trick here is you do 4th order accuracy, and then you do 5th order accuracy. So 4th order accuracy should be less accurate than fifth order, right?
Yeah.
But what if the answer is the same? What does it mean? So if your answer from fourth order and fifth order is the same, this means the step size is small enough. So if your step size is very small, you get very accurate answer. If your step size is too big, the answer from fifth order and fourth order will not be the same. So this means if the difference between fourth order and fifth order are not the same, or maybe the difference is too much, greater than your tolerance, this means we jump too quick. We have to reduce the jump, reduce the step size. If the answer is more or less the same, this means we jump too slow. We can increase the step size a little bit, right? You see my point? So, Busher tableau that you have here, notice that you don't have diagonal term and you don't have top right triangle. George, is this explicit or implicit?
Explicit.
Yes, correct. It's explicit method. You have to calculate, of course, K1 evaluate at the current point, K2 evaluate at 1/5 of the interval, K3, K4, K5, K6. And that's the coefficient that is to be used. Then next Y, fourth order Y is that line, and fifth order Y is another line. Okay? I also code this so that you see how does it look like in the coding format. Okay? You can access the code of SciPy for Dormand-Prince, but it is written in Fortran, and it's not easy to read. Okay? It's not easy, believe me. So once you do calculate error between fifth and fourth order, then you have the way to adjust your step size. This formula. S is epsilon, your tolerance, the value that you set, multiplied by h, the current step size, divided by 2, divided by the difference, raised to the power of 1/5. How do we get this formula? There's a derivation. We don't cover it, but there's derivation. When I Google it, I find the derivation from other university. Yes.
Is this formula only for Dormand-Prince, or we can use it for any method to determine the step size?
You can use for other method, provided that you have fourth order accuracy and fifth order accuracy. If you have fourth order accuracy and fifth order accuracy and you want to use adaptive step size, like step size adjusts automatically, you can use this formula. So basically when you compare fourth order answer and fifth order answer, you can adjust the step size by using this formula, that is S. If S is greater than A, or certain constant, I typically use 1. Means that the selected edge is small enough and we can move faster, so we accept the result that we got for fifth order. If S is too small, we don't accept the answer, but we multiply the step size with the current step size. So we reduce step size and we calculate again. Okay? Look at this. You see Lobato minus 0.5, that is step size. I move from that to that to that. Dormand-Prince, H equal to automatic selecting, auto. So first step, it jumped to there, and then it jumped a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. So Lobato used 21 points. Dormand-Prince used 11 points. Faster, better, good. If your calculation is expensive, it takes 2 minutes to get 1 point. This way is faster. But if your formula is stiff, very difficult to converge and very unstable. Dormand-Prince, guess what? Still work, but may not be as, it's not unconditionally stable. Let me put it this way. It's not L-stable, but Roberto is L-stable.
Excuse me, sir. So how did you implement automatic step size?
Yeah, we will talk about that. So implementation, automatic step size. There has to be some kind of algorithm to step size. So how do I do it? Here's how I do it. I have defined a function, Dormand-Prince. I have x and y. I use semicolon to separate it so that I can put it on the screen. So I define C1, C2, C3, C5, C6, A1, 2, A2, 3. So this is everything in butcher tableau. And I say S equal to 1, step size equal to 1, right? And it start from here. So step size equal to the given step size multiplied by the step ratio S, which is 1. So H equal to H, no change. Then I say, hey, if H is too small, I adjust it. If H is less than 0, this means we move beyond the endpoint. Or if H is too much or something, so this is just adjustment, okay? I calculate K1, K2, K3, K4, K5, K6, K7.
Oh, I see.
Put it directly. And then calculate error, absolute value of y5 minus y4, right? And I say, hey, if error is very small, S equal to 4. If else, we use that formula.
Okay, just
You remember that formula for S? To calculate S. If our S is greater than 1, we accept the solution. If it's greater than 1 and it's also greater than 4, we set it into greater than 4. When I say I accept the formula, I mean I update or I add the solution, which is y5, into my existing list. Okay? Just that. If it's less than that, I go back in the loop. So it keep doing everything. So this is loop J. Okay? And loop J is 100 times. If it's more than 100 times, probably something wrong. So if the step size is small, this means we don't accept the answer. We update the step size to be small, and then we redo it, and to calculate S. If S is 1 or greater, then we accept, and we move on. If S is less than 0, I don't accept, I keep doing it. So this way we can...
Why did we just stop till the range 100?
Where's 100 come from? 100 come from me. You want... Think about this. First time that you write the code, it won't be correct. If it's not correct, what happened? You keep doing that. You want it to stop,
Oh, okay.
right? So that is one variable. Okay, what next? That's Dormand-Prince. It adjusts automatically. Okay, we have a little bit more time, 4 minutes. Let's talk about second order. The numerical method for solving ODE cannot directly be used to solve second order ODE. You must change from second order to 2 of first order. Then you can do it. Look at this one. I have d squared y by dx squared plus dy by dx minus 6y equal to sin x plus x. Boundary condition. So for second order, you need 2 conditions, right? Sometimes those 2 conditions is defined at the same point. Like x equal to 0, y equal to this, y prime equal to that. Sometimes those conditions defined at different point. If it's defined at different point, it's more problematic. Okay. I showed you the case where it's more problematic. So at x equal to 0, y equal to 1, and at x equal to 1, y prime equal to 1. So I define at two different points. So I split it by saying, hey, dy0 by dx equal to y1. And dy1 by dx is this thing, move to the right hand side, is this. If you can do this, you can solve second order. You can also solve third order. Right? Can you? You can do this, right? Not a big deal.
Of course you can.
So we say dy0 by dx equal to y1. Right? And dy1 by dx equal to something based on that formula.
Okay.
So now you have two equations. So let's say it is initial value problem and you want to use explicit Euler to solve it. What do? You use slope at the current point to guess the next value. But this time you have two types of y. You have y1 and y0. You have two equations. So you start with your equation 1. Hey, slope for, so at the end, what you get? You get the graph, like two graphs, y0 and y1 as a function of x, right? Correct? The end result, you should have two equations. So you use the current point of y0 to define y1. So the right hand side is slope. Same thing, this right hand side is slope. When you know the right hand side, then you can move to the next step. But this time you move twice. You update y0 to be y0 at the next point, and y1 to be y1 at the next point. Right? This is explicit Euler. Implicit Euler means you have two equations. Probably can be two equations, two unknown. You may solve it simultaneously or not, depending on how it couple. But basically you have, yes, it couple. So implicit Euler, you should be able to write the equation though. But you just solve two equations simultaneously. Then you get two solutions. And okay, it's 20, but think about this. I did this for Dormand-Prince and Lobato. It's going to be more fun. And you want to know how to do that. Okay. Alright. See you next time on Wednesday. If you have any question on take-home exam, I don't answer any of that. It's your job and you don't ask anything. You can open the internet. You don't ask any of your friends. Keep doing it. You done? Take-home exam. Keep doing it. Okay. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.
So we're actually thinking about the part of the syllabus